So today I'm going to go ahead and start looking at getting some of this Bondo. This is the original coat we put on in the last video. Sanded down. See if we need any more. This side here we might be good, but we'll see. If we end up with low spots, we'll go back and do it again. I can see that that's still a bit low. Ish. That side there might be alright, but we'll see when we get it sanded off. There's also a spot right here that I forgot to put Bondo on yesterday that will hit once we get these sanded down. One other thing, the gasket kit arrived in the mail today. So I'm essentially ready to rebuild the motor now because I got the gasket kit. I do need to order a couple of these oil seals, one around the kicker, one around the pivot for the compression release. But we should be good, but I'm probably going to leave the motor to the last. But we'll see how it goes. In the meantime, let's focus on getting our tank and our fender painted up. So, let's do some sanding. So to this point, I've got 3 coat and then sand, coat and then sand, coat and then sand with 220 using an orbital sander to get this stuff smoothed out. So now when I run my fingers over this, there's only a couple small spots where I feel transition, but for the rest of it, it's pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go take some 320 and just lightly sand to make sure all the edges are feathered, make sure everything feels good. Then we should be good to clean this up and get some primer on it. Because we finished up all our sanding, I'm going to give this a quick wipe down with some tack cloth now. And then we're going to go ahead and hit it with some primer. Etching primer, that is. Okay, we're all wiped down. Let's go ahead and give this a nice light coat of etching primer in preparation for the upcoming flat red primer we're going to put on it. So that's our nice light coat of etching primer. Things are looking nice and smooth. Shape is good. Still slightly see the Bondo under here, but as you can see by the shape, things are looking nice. So I've got the heat on in the garage. We're going to give this some time to dry up, and once it's done, we'll go ahead and we'll get our flat red primer on it, and we'll probably do 3 nice coats similar to this, and that way we'll have a good base for doing our wet sanding on the primer and getting things ultra smooth. So we're getting ready to put some of our primer on this tank now that we've got it etching primed. It's been drying for a few days now, so it's good. We'll give it a quick wipe down with a tack cloth and get some primer on it. While I'm waiting for the heat in the garage to come up, what I want to do is just want to start trying to get the old stickers off of these side panels. So here are the two side panels we got for the bike. Here's one for the left side. This one's in pretty decent shape. There's a bit of a gouge here, so when I get the sticker off, we'll fill that. Other than that, it's just going to get cleaned up. I'm thinking when I paint these, I'm not going to strip these down to bare plastic and prime and paint them. I'm going to get this sticker off, get it completely cleaned up, and then I'll sand it so it's rough enough so that it'll take primer, and I'll probably just paint right over that then. So I think it'll take a lot of effort to actually get all the paint off these, and I don't want to sandblast them because I'm afraid I'll leave, you know, scars. I don't want to put the stripper on it because I'm afraid it'll eat the plastic. I'm pretty sure it will. So I'm going to clean them up, get them ready for priming, and then we'll paint them with the tank and the rear fender. So I've got the stickers peeled off. I just went at it with the heat gun and a scraper. I'm using to keep that level to keep the glue gun on it. So I'm going to let the glue gun do its thing for some amount of time. And in the meantime, we're going to go ahead and get our first coat of primer on the gas tank. So let's get that set up. Coat number one on the front. I'm gonna hit the back quickly now as well, and then we'll give that some time to dry. We'll see if we can get that goo gone off of those side covers right there. So that's it for coat number one of the primer on the tank. Just give it a little turn. Try to keep it relatively light. I want to get full coverage, but I didn't want it too thick. A couple spots you can still see a bit of the Bondo there on that corner. Well, in all, looks like I got everything covered well. So we'll give that some time, and then we'll come back and go at it with a second coat. Let's take a look at those side covers. So this is sort of interesting. What I thought was a gouge is actually the way this was manufactured. So if you see, you can kind of see how the line extends on up here. I don't know if you can probably see it, how it comes across here as well and under. But that's actually this piece here, how it was formed, I guess, or how they were attached. So either way, I managed to get, I think I got all the sticky stuff off this one now. The glue gun was kind of scratched into this a bit, so I'm going to do some cleanup on this to make sure it's nice and smooth. Even though it's going to be under a sticker, I still want to make sure it's good. So for what I ended up doing was just hitting it with some brake cleaner, you see right there-ish, and the stuff pretty much came off using a combination of rag and some steel wool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and focus on getting this one cleaned up, and then I'm going to go probably pick up some fiberglass repair so I can repair that panel there because it is cracked right here, as you can see. So this needs to come back down and come back together. So I'm going to try to use a combination of heat to get these pieces to come back together where they belong. Heat and then the fiberglass and to rebuild this up. And then I should be ready to clean both pieces up and get them primed. So while I've got the other side panel soaking with brake cleaner on it, we're going to go ahead and give the tank its second coat of primer. So let's get that on there. So I'm up to 3 coats in the tank here now, but I'm out of primer, so I may go pick up a little bit more. We'll see how it goes, and I might even pick up a different color primer, so when I'm ready to do my wet sanding stuff, I'll know when I'm getting down through certain layers, whatever. But either way, now, since I've got the side panels cleaned up, I'm going to quickly just go ahead and go at the back of these with some brake cleaner and just get all the dirt and stuff cleaned off them, and then I'll go ahead and get these ready to be worked on. So for instance, this one is pretty good for the most part. I don't think there's a bit of a wear mark right here, but other than that, this looks good. On the other side, you're not going to see it, but I'm still going to clean it up and paint it. On this one here, we've got a spot up here on the end where it looks like it was nipped by something, like something squatted or pinched it. So I'm going to try to file this down and reshape it, I guess with a bit of fiberglass resin, once I go pick that stuff up. And once again, I just need to fix this side here, so we're going to want to bring this together. There's a bit of a kink in it here, so I'm probably going to put the heat gun on it and see if I can't get it a bit pliable, help me move that back into position, and then we'll go ahead and we'll get the fiberglass on that and get it drying. So that way, once the fiberglass is dried and we're done shaping everything, we should be ready to paint these panels as well. And then we'll go ahead and set up the ghetto paint booth and we'll get these things painted up. Either way, let's get the back of those cleaned up. So now that I've got these stripped off, I'm going to go ahead and sand them quickly just to get them ready for paint. Well, this one will be good to paint once it's sanded. Yeah, once this one's sanded, we should be good to paint it. This one here is going to need some fiberglass work. So I picked up a fiberglass patching kit. We're going to go ahead and fix this stuff up here. And once that's dry, we'll go ahead and get it all sanded down, ready for paint as well. So that's sanded now. Most of the unevenness around where some of the paint chipped off and whatnot is nice and smooth now. This whole area here is going to be covered in sticker, so I'm not too concerned with this. Like these little bumps here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and hit this one with some primer now. Finish this edge here, I guess. I'm not going to really be too concerned. This side isn't going to get painted. I just cleaned it up and decided I wouldn't paint it. So we'll get the side primed with our primer as well, a couple coats, and then we'll set this aside so it's ready for paint as well. And then we can finally get to work on fixing this boo-boo here. So this is almost empty, but I'm going to try to get a coat on anyways. I'm going to pick up some more and finish it off. So, managed to get coat one of it anyways. I'm going to pick up another can of this flat red primer, and then we'll get our second coat on, and we can also start working at getting this side panel fixed up. So looking at the side panel, we see there's a couple spots we need to fix. The first one is pretty minor. It's just right here, and it's where this tab is after cracking off from the main body. So if I flip it over, you'll see it a bit better right here. So I can bend that there in this gap right here. The second part, which is a bit more serious, I don't think it's too bad. Right here we've got a larger crack. So this is after cracking and separating some, I guess with the heat from the muffler, because the muffler shield is usually on this side. But that probably gets warm enough for this to stay bent out. So I might put the heat gun on it and see if it'll start coming back together a bit. Or we might just go ahead and get some fiberglass on everything here, and we'll come back and shape it so it looks normal once we're done. So I'm gonna go ahead and start roughing this up with some 80 grit around the places we need to fix, and then we'll look at getting some of our fiberglass down on this. See now this is nice and pliable. You should be able to squeeze it back into place and hold it while it cools, and that way you should take that shape again. A bit toasty on the fingers though. A bit better, I'll give it a bit more heat. I'll get some gloves. I'll bring you back when it's straightened up. So I got stuff to line up a lot better than it was. You can see I just barely need to touch it now, it's straight on. I got a little bit aggressive with the heat gun. So there's a couple spots where the plastic sort of melted a bit. But that's alright because we can come back after we hit this with some body filler. Once it's structurally sound with fiberglass, then we can sand this all flat and make it look nice again before we prime it. So I'm going to go ahead and start cutting up pieces of fiberglass, getting it laid out on the back and the top of this. We can go ahead and get this structurally fixed up and get it ready for some Bondo and then some primer. So what I'm going to do is, because of the way this hole is pretty irregular, what I want to do is I'll cover all of this with fiberglass. So what will happen is I'll have a piece of fiberglass go in, it'll get stuck in with the resin. I should be able to start it like say halfway up this hole here, so this gap we can start from here, file in or drill out and clean up with files and whatnot. And then the same with this hole here, but this way if you can see through, I'll be able to get fiber right in behind all the stuff that's irregularly shaped and broken off. So that's what we're going to do. So there's just a little look at the fiberglass pushed in, like I said, from about here all the way down in through here. So that way, once it cures, you'll see all the spots that look, if I can get this to focus, come on, all the spots there that look glassy. Come on, focus, you fucking. We'll fill the holes with some Bondo and get stuff shaped correctly. And we'll drill it and clear out those little ventilas. So we're at the point now where the fiberglass is curing. It's still a bit tacky. It's been there drying now for about an hour and a half. So I guess in the interest of getting a video done and uploaded today, I'm going to go ahead and call it for this one. And in the next one, you'll see me ready to actually paint all these. I'll have the work to fix this done. So we'll be getting ready to set up our little paint booth. And we'll start getting some of that Honda red on everything. So with that said, I want to say thank you for following along once again. And we'll see you on the next one.